Hello and welcome to my podcast. Do me a favor, subscribe to the John Keim Report wherever you get your podcast. You're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. You can find us there as part of Empire Media. That's AMPIRE. It's always much appreciated when you tune in. Today, I'm joined by former Washington Redskins corner Fred Smoot as we discuss the cornerbacks in this year's draft class. Fred studies this stuff, folks. You can find him on Twitter at fsmoot21 Sean T. You can find him on Instagram at fsmoot27. That's of course his jersey number. Does some breakdowns with the Commanders on their sites with Logan Paulson. So check him out because he's a very smart guy, knows his stuff, especially when it comes to the cornerback class. So we go over all that stuff. By the way, you can read my work on ESPN.com. Of course, I hope you know that by now. Anyway, with Fred, we go over a lot of the top cornerbacks in this class, and there's some guys that he likes maybe that you can find after the second round, and where he feels maybe the sweet spots are to find one in the gap between some of the top corners and some of the guys at the end of the first or even into the second round. How big is that gap? Is there a gap? What would he look for in a corner? What does he feel Washington needs to get out of their cornerback, whoever they take? And we also kind of get into, the style of defense. Not every corner fits every style of defense. So who are some guys that would fit in what Washington wants to do? Get into all that, folks. So buckle up. Always a fun ride with Fred Smoot. So here's my conversation with former Washington corner Fred Smoot. Well, I am now joined by Emmanuel Forbes's Washington, D.C.-based agent, Fred Smoot.
You know what? Great players just recognize great players now. And this is what I can always say, Keim, when I look at players, especially for the draft, I always try to look for their comparison. Did I play with them in my generation? Did I watch them before my generation? Who do they remind me of? And Emmanuel Forbes, of course, I'm going to have to say a little myself sprinkled in there because, I was a skinny corner. Yeah. I was never injury prone. He's never injury prone, can go get the ball. But it's a Samari role in there. Like it's a lot of Samari role in there where he's just able to get the ball. And when I think about the corners we have here now, St. Juice, at his best, is a guy that manufactures turnovers. He don't take the ball away per se, interception. So the guy that I put opposite of him can't be Witherspoon because Witherspoon is a guy that's built almost the same mold as St. Juice, where I would find ways to get it back, but I'm not known for taking the ball. I got to have two opposites there from a play like that.
Cool. And I'll get to Forbes in a minute because I do want to get back onto him. But before we look in this corner class, because it is a very good corner class, and we know that this team is looking hard at that position. Yeah. But I'm curious, though, because there are obviously different style of corners. Not every corner matches what these guys or a certain team may want to do. So when you look at like what they want to do, they love that. They use that zone match really well last year. They want to do that. How important, when you're looking at these corners, are you taking that into consideration, and how big a factor is that?
You have to, because you got to watch the film and see. You got to see them play off man. That's the key to play zone match. You got to be good at off man, and you got to be very patient in your back pedal. And some guys, like a Darrell Reeves, it was hard to turn him out to make him turn his hips. He was one of those guys. He would stay into his back pedal 17 yards down the field. So. That's what you're looking for. And some of these guys are known for their press. When you look at a Christian Gonzalez, a lone guy known for his press, a Jerry Porter Jr., a guy that's known for his press, but yet again, a guy that doesn't have a lot of interceptions. He has a lot of intangibles, but not a lot of interceptions. And ask yourself, is he the type guy at 6'2", 200 plus pounds that you want to put at 8 yards and backpedaling backwards?
Right. And I think when you're looking at productivity with the interceptions, because Porter is going to be a press man. You're going to get those picks are going to come a lot in off man or zone, correct? Yeah. So, when you're looking at the productivity, how do you say like, okay, he's playing a lot of press man. Is he a guy that can take it away? What little signs, even in press man, are you going to look for to see, like, could he translate to this and take the ball away a little bit more?
Well, first of all, it's going to be, does he stay parallel to the line of scrimmage? is he patient? Do people make him turn his hips? Do he voluntarily open up and turn his hips? Is he dictating the route? Is he trailing the route? Is he anticipating the route? Also, I need to, and what you can see at the combine in the private workouts is how smooth is he in the back pedal? Is he very smooth, or is he an up and down bobbing guy? Do we have to work on those things? The one thing you want to see is, what is a defining trait? And when you say defining trait, what's that one thing that you do better than you do any other thing? I would say with a Jerry Porter, it would probably be his physicality. It would be his physicality. I wouldn't say it's his ball skills. I wouldn't say he's the smoothest back pedal. With a Christian Gonzalez, it's more of, he does a little bit of everything good. He has no one defining quality. You look at Keim Smith, who I really do love at South Carolina. Oh, he's a feisty guy, and he what I call the parrot on the shoulder. Once you get great defensive linemen, you need that DB that yaps, that parrot on the shoulder of a giant. He's that type guy that'll bring in that personality that can do it. Like, I could legitimately see 5 or 6 of these guys going in the first 40 picks, only because it's a weak wide receiver draft that nobody wants to talk about.
Right. Yeah, you're right. And, it's funny because Keim Smith, better off man and zone. And, so like that's would fit what these guys want. And you could probably get him in the second round, I would assume.
Oh, no. You can maybe. They're going to run.
You think he could go in the first?
Well, you got to think about it, Keim. You're going to see a run on 3 positions that'll shake this draft. And that'll be a quarterback. Somebody's going to move and jump for some of these quarterbacks. It's going to be offensive tackles, and it's going to be cornerbacks. They are going to be the identifiers. And as much as they're going to push people up the draft, they're going to push some people back in the draft. And you always going to have your outliers. The outlier in this draft is Jalen Carter. Not because of his talent, because of the situations he finds himself in. So now he's reshuffled the board in the top 10. So it will be, I guarantee you, one of the teams, a Seattle, a Chicago, one of the teams, the Texans, with multiple draft picks that acquire Jalen Carter with that team. So it's going to be. And that's why I think we at that great spot. We at 16, we at that spot where some guys could zero in on a guy that's saying he's moving up everybody's charts. A Donnell Washington, Donnell Wright, the tackle from Tennessee. These guys are moving up, flying up boards. That'll make somebody get a little antsy to say, you know what, maybe we need to talk to Washington to get to 16 when we don't need to force our hand at 16. We can get, and that's what I do love. If you really want a corner, the degrees of separation between these guys is not much. I don't feel like I'm losing much by grabbing Forbes in the late 20s, early 30s, as I am taking Witherspoon in the top 10. I just don't see that legit different in them, that to the point where I can say, you know what, I can still get the same quality at a later pick.
Yeah, and to be honest, I like Witherspoon, but I see what you're saying. Like, I like that feistiness that he adds, but I see what you're saying too about the need to get someone who kind of does something what you don't have, give you something you don't have. And I also think with this pass rush, they would do well by having a corner like you're watching. Like I'm watching Deontay Begg sometimes, and I know like there's some, his ball skills in the air, not the best, but what you're seeing is the result of when there's pressure on a guy. Or Forbes was the perfect guy with that. Like there are times where that ball is off target because of the rush, and he pounces.
He takes advantage of it. There go your things. You have guys like I separate my corners. Some guys are just true thieves. Some guys are ball hawks, meaning they're actually wide receivers that's playing corner. All right, you got 2 types of corners. You got your ex-wide receivers, who are usually the skinny, taller build, and you got your ex-running backs, similar to Sean Springs, bigger body, and Champ Bailey, more of a receiver at corner. I tend to like the receivers. All right, that's what you get into D'Angelo Hall. You get an ex-wide receiver now. They're not just playing routes. They're anticipating routes. They know routes. They've ran routes, and they're prone to catch the ball. Yeah, they're going to give up some passes because they're going after the ball. But then you have the safer guys that's going to make sure I'm going to try to break this up and make sure I secure their tackle. with St. Juice on one side, I think you have to get that thief on the other side, somebody that take chances, somebody that anticipates 3rd and 5, they're going to run slants on me. I'm not moving. I'm finna go steal this ball. That's what you get with a couple of these guys in this draft.
Well, let's stick on Forbes for a second, because when you watch him, like, he does seem to anticipate what is coming.
Yeah.
And is that, how much instincts to me in football seem to be honed by smarts and film study, right? And all that.
Yep.
So is for him, why do you feel he's good with that?
First of all, he's a football head. That's all he likes to do is talk. Like, I like football nerds. Like, football nerds makes their job a lot easier. It's a reason this guy jumps screen routes. All right? It ain't too many of these corners in this draft that jump screen routes and take them for 6. He's watched them run it. He's waiting on the formation. He's waiting on the down and distance that they like to do it. So they go to corner. Like, when I watch Ringo, for all the talent that Ringo has, the anticipation is not there. Right. That's telling me his film study is not as tight as his God-given ability. And I think that's what the teams will want to see with him. Study habits, and how does he adjust when it's time to go get the ball. His plays as a corner, it's time to go turn the ball over. And that's what you see in some of these corners. Like I said, some of these corners, I must say this, they look damn good getting off the bus, Keim. I'm talking about 6'2", 200 pounds. I'm all about football players. Am I coming to see you, and am I trying to get a bodybuilder? Or am I trying to get a football player? And usually the football players come in these abnormal packages. They look at a guy that's 170 pounds and say, how is he going to be able to make it? Well, he's been making it in the ACC pretty damn good for years. So I got to see the film with a corner. Like, show me solid film and show me, and I want to see you consistently shut stuff down. And somebody beat you on an odd route that they didn't plan all week for, they don't bother me. They're just telling me these people are taking the time out to know they can only beat you one or two ways.
Right.
And that tells me a lot.
So when you're looking at Washington's defense too, because, with Forbes is a skinnier guy. And so, but they need him to play run support. How important if you're Jack Del Rio Rivera evaluating these corners, where are you putting that run support ability? Because they do require that.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's part of the game. And the thing about it is, as a skinny corner, he got to understand running games will be catered to you. Yeah. I know personally. Yes. I watch them take the wide receiver and they literally crack the linebacker, forcing you to crack and replace. And what I love about Forbes, he gets up the field quick. He recognizes the run because he's a film study guy. That allows him not to take on the run, but to attack the run like I used to. Can I make this play in the backfield? And if I can't make the play myself, I would literally, and that's when it was legal, I would cut the offensive lineman and I would start a pile. And it would force the play back to the inside. So it's about the football knowledge. But I think most of these guys in this draft can play the run. I don't see any truly bad tacklers out of this group when it comes to the cornerback position. And that's why I think overall, it could be the deepest. Think about this. Thomason from TCU.
5'8".
I just think he's one of those guys. He can do a little bit of everything.
He can play inside.
So he's one of these guys that's probably gonna. And people always want to go high in the draft, this and that. He's probably gonna look up and end up on a playoff franchise. All right? That allows him to have a great career. Because if I end up with Patrick Mahomes as a quarterback, I spend 3/4 of my time playing with a lead. Right. I play with a different mentality as a corner with the lead. So. It's the good and the bad and the ugly that comes with the draft and comes with these fits. And that's why an NFL career has a lot to do where you're drafted at and not a lot to do with the player sometimes.
Oh, I think timing and then just fit is a huge thing for every position. And the more I cover the NFL, the more I realize it's not just about that. It's like, how are they using you, et cetera.
The adventure park is ziplining through the trees. It's climbing from platform to platform. It's even an axe throwing competition with your friends. But what the adventure park really is opportunity. Reconnecting with friends and family, accomplishing a challenge, and making lasting memories. So book your visit today and choose your own adventure.
So let's go back to that 16th pick. Let's say like guys like Deonte Banks will be there most likely. Joey Porter Jr., as you talked about. So do you have a preference there between those two guys? Banks is physical, but he doesn't play the ball as well and hasn't played the ball as well in the year.
And they go to guys like when I look at the combine process, the pre-draft process is just truly let's find out why we shouldn't draft you. It ain't really why we should, because you done already showed why you should be drafted. Now let's find these small things that might not make you fit us as much as you fit. Like value is in the eye of the beholder.
Right.
Like you only need one team to fall in love with you and like you and feel like if this team feel like you're a top 50 pick, you will be a top 50 pick. So when I look at some of these guys, I really just try to find out what is going to take for them to get to the next level. And can they translate from what I just saw in college? Will it translate to what I'm going to ask them to do? And that's the key. What are we going to ask the guy to do? I think we're going to press a lot more. So that's 10 to tell them they're going to want a taller corner. All right, but they're going to also want somebody that, like I say, plays off man just as well as they play press man. And with this D-line, to really take advantage of this D-line with a young quarterback, you got to get the ball back. You got to get him some short fields, and you got to say, you know what, the script is on defense, but we have some anomalies on offense that can make it easy for the quarterback. Let's apply the pressure with the defense.
Right, and that's a good point. So let's take a look at a guy like Banks, and again, the knock of the ball in the air. How much can that be improved when you get in the NFL? Your ability to play the ball in the air, and is that a fair criticism of him?
Yeah, well, I think it is. Like, this is what it is. When he comes and run a time like that, when he jumps a vertical like that, now you watch the film and you want the athletic ability to match the film. So when it doesn't match the film, you ask the first question. Maybe they weren't throwing his way as much. But then you find out they were throwing his way. And as you dissect him, you find out, how can I help him take all of this talent and maximize it? And can we figure out why he don't turn the ball over? Does he not have ball skills? Is he not comfortable in transition? Is he not comfortable in the phase of deep routes? It's all about just watching. What are your habits? Your habits are who you are in sports. Your habits are who you are. Well, we're going to come with some good habits. We're going to come with some bad habits. The first thing a good DB coach want to know, can I clean up your bad? And can I get your good habits to go to the next level?
Can you, with the ball awareness, then how do you improve that?
Well, I think that's all inside of that cornerback, because a lot of guys be in the same position. Some turn back for the ball. Some don't even turn back. They play through the wide receiver. That shows the comfortability. Some guys, I don't think you could teach ball retrieval when you get to the league. Either you a ball magnet or you're not. All right. So I think you can get better in your coverage to the point where you can play and you can maximize your situation. Don't get me wrong. But if I'm talking about a guy that consistently gonna do it year after year after year, it has to be somebody that already has those ball skills. I can't make you something that you're not.
Right. With Porter, would he translate here? Because again, more press man.
Yeah, I don't. He wouldn't be my pick. Put it like this, Keim. At 16, Porter. Who else we were just talking about? Banks. I believe I can get the same productivity in the late 20s, early second round. It ain't nothing in my mind that say I can't. The only reason I probably couldn't, because a playoff team at the end of the first round steals a certain talent because they draft the best player available that fits their scheme. Then they have that position to draft whoever they need to steal these players. Like the players in this draft, to me, are from pick 15 to pick 55. I think these are the players that's going to change the NFL. This is, mark my word, Keim, this is one of those drafts that pushes out veterans. This one, and that's why free agent was so slow. Free agency was so slow because I could replace these guys cheaper with younger talent. This is going to be a year that pushes out a whole lot of veterans.
Especially at that corner position. And I think
Especially
that's
at the corner, tight end, tackles. It'll be a lot of offensive linemen. This is going to be one of those drafts, and we're gonna see a lot of people reach. Like we see it every year in the draft. They fall in love with a prospect and they reach. So these are the people that's going to shape this draft. The people who reach for these players. When I feel like in certain positions, it's a lot of talent.
so let's stick on Forrest one more thing, because one of the things I noticed about him is he makes a play. He's getting up, shaking his head every time at the receiver.
Yeah.
How big a talker is he? Is he that much like Fred Smoot?
He's a talker. He's a talker, and he loves the challenge. The one thing about talkers is you have got the attention on yourself. Now what you going to do? And he loves that challenge. And what I do love is he's the Slim Reaper, just like Devontae Smith. Like, I done watched them go head-to-head. I done watched him go head-to-head with Jamar Chase. I done watched him go head-to-head with some of the NFL's best. Jefferson, he has been in that realm. He has had to check those guys. And I just think he has that confidence. And he's one of those guys, once he get his hands on the ball, he's a Lamborghini. Like nobody, and if you go back and watch his film, watch how many times he intercepts the ball and nobody else is in the screen. After his first 4 steps, he is leaving everybody out the screen. He's very quick, very fast, and has great intuition. And that's what I like in corners. That's what made my career start out so fast. I had Champ Bailey in that room. And now when you throw to each side, both of us steal the ball back. It makes it hard for you to figure out what situation to try us.
Hey, when you are, and this, I'm going to get back to, I want to get your like after second round guys that you like. But when it comes to talking as a corner, when do you know a guy is a good talker? And what does it take to be a good talker as a corner?
I know you a good talker when you get beat and you still talking.
Okay.
That's because now you at your lowest. All right. When you get beat as a cornerback on national TV, that's a lonely situation. But to get up and say, "Come on back again," and keep coming, that tells me mentally you're locked in. Because the cornerback position is a position of failure. All right. It ain't who make the most plays, is who fails the less. So it's one where it's not when you're going to fail, but what happens afterward. And that's why I was like so high on seeing Sauce Gardner get beat, because I want to see him get beat, because I had never seen him get beat in college. So I didn't know how he was going to respond. So I wanted to see how he was going to respond. And that's what you see with talkers. You see them get beat, get right back in their receiver face and say, "Come on, let's try this again." And we got 4 more quarters of it. So it's all about your self-confidence. And a lot of these guys that hasn't seen failure, like a Ringo, for much as he's been built up, he's had some ups and downs. He's one of those guys I want to see what happens after he get beat. Like, he's one of those guys I would want to see. Now I get to see your mental makeup.
Do you have a favorite line that you gave to a receiver after you got beat?
Well, you know what? I used to tell them all the time, I love to get a charity. Nonprofits are my favorite. Listen, and if I don't let you get a little bit, the quarterback will stop coming over here. And they know also, receivers know sneakily, they know we are a prisoner of the defensive call. All right. And just because I'm in the vicinity, that don't mean that's my responsibility.
Right.
And I think that's where the people inside the game can really grade corners, when they know what the call is. Because just because I stayed snug on a cover 3, I made it look like man-to-man. But then because maybe my linebacker ain't pushing out to the flat and they running comebacks on me all day, and y'all wonder why I'm playing off.
Right.
So these are the things that go into playing corner, that you have to be patient in the league, because you got to realize this also. Every matchup won't be in your favor. Like, it's always a dude with the body type, the mindset that got your number. The question is, who is his trigger man?
Do these guys have, like, how much do you like their safeties? And is that a position? Because I know they want to get another Buffalo nickel type. How important is that? And how do you like their safeties? Percy Butler,
I like
Cam.
Defoe. I love Cam. I love the guys they got back there. I think they need an oddity. Like, I'm in the unicorn business. I like to find people that don't fit the mold. J.L. Skinner from Boise State, tall, long, rangy, 6'4", 215 pounds, 220, rangy. I like to find guys like that can play multiple positions. Like sometime as a quarterback, you gotta say, are they using him as a linebacker? Are they still using him as a safety? And I hear coach all the time talk position flex. That's only to hide situational football. And that's why a safety like JL will be different than everybody on the roster. Like I'm trying to find the same guy. I need to find some guys that change the way I do a roster. It's very similar to how the Cowboys use Curse. Like when Curse is in the game, it's hard to know what they're in.
And what about Brian Branch? Did you study him at all?
Yeah, I do like Brian Branch. Very aggressive, great ball skills. Great ball skills for a safety. But you got to say, where's Brian? Where's he going to go? I think he's anywhere from 15 to 35, 40 maybe. Yeah. I'm not taking him for where we at roster wise. I had to ask myself, would a B plus corner help me right now more? B plus safety. I would say a B plus corner.
Yeah. I would agree, because you need someone who can take the ball the on the edges. And I think they also, like, to me, you can never have enough corners because of the importance of the position. So who are some guys that you like? You brought up Cam Smith later. Who are some other guys you like maybe? Because this is a draft where you could go several rounds and find a quality player at that spot. Who else do you like beyond that?
Well, we basically then talked about the first 7, 8
probably
guys.
About 7 or 8 guys, yeah. I mean,
at the corner position, I forgot his name.
Like a guy like Garrett Williams from Syracuse.
And tall, long, rangy. Yeah. I like Garrett. Like, the thing about him is physical at the line of scrimmage, to be so tall, very flexible hips. That's what I'm about. I want good feet. I want fluid hips and good feet. Meaning, I don't want to see you fall much. I don't want to see the corners that fall. I don't like a corner has to be more athletically prone to be more like a cat than a dog. You never see a cat fall on his face. So I like to see guys that can keep their feet, and with the longer corners coming into the league right now, everybody's looking for one. Now, I got to ask myself, we're getting Garrett Williams, is he a more ballic version of St. Juice? Like, I have to be roster conscious. Like, I don't like coaches that's not roster conscious. Like, I don't like to just draft a name because it's the best name available. Do they fit what we're trying to do over here? And what is my identifier at the corner? What do I want? Do I want a ball hawk? Do I want a nickel? Because that'll be one position that people say, all right, who's the nickel? You know, do you move, if you draft the first round corner, do you move Kyle Fuller? I mean, do you move Fuller inside? Do you move him inside, Kendall? Like,
maybe you put, because St. Juice was there last year. Maybe you put him inside.
But no, they seen putting St. Juice on the outside change the defense. Right. He cannot go back inside. And there go one of the triggers that might have to say Keim Smith over the other positions.
Okay.
One
of the guys, like the guy from Utah, is it Clark Phillips?
Clark Phillips, physical. Move around, didn't run as well as I thought he was going to run, because he's not the biggest guy.
No, he's a slot guy too.
Yeah, but Utah, I love Utah players. It's like a couple of colleges. You just tell me a player from that, be like, yeah, I give him a chance. And Utah, one of them colleges. Arkansas, I love guys from Cincinnati. Like, I love, like, it's certain colleges, they going to give you tough players. Clark Phillips, I think he has to be in the right situation with the right coordinator. He ain't what I call a plug and play anywhere type corner. Okay. He's going to have to be a situational draft pick, because you want him to do certain things and you know he can do those things. I don't put him with the rest of I love his aggression. I don't know if he has the top end speed to deal with some of the inside corners, the slots in this league. They're doing a lot of stuff vertically from the slot position. And I think, especially as a young corner, he will already have, the red beam on him. Now, I don't know if he's going to have a high-end speed to be that good.
Because they use so many 3 safety sets, does that limit the need to draft a slot corner high, in other words? Like, in other words, just take the best corner, because you use so many 3 safety sets, but you're obviously going to use 3 corner sets too as times. But does that change anything in your mind?
We did re-sign Danny Johnson. I think Danny is one of those guys. underutilized. Every time he gets in, all he does is make plays. I think they feel like Danny can get in there. I think they will have more talks with Fuller to see how can he make him more comfortable in there, because I do feel like if they do go corner, they're going to try to get a ball hawk, some guy to get in there that can get the ball back. And if you're going to draft, like I said, it's all about whether you draft him. Are you drafting him at 16? Are you drafting him at the second round? Are you trying to squeeze him in the third round? Because we still got maybe some offensive linemen maybe to draft in this draft. Or maybe you go after one of the guys that's so different at their position that you can't pass on them, like a Donnell Washington. Like, I love the guy, and I just think he's just so freakish that, like, people don't think about the draft. Like, think about Cincinnati sitting at, 29, 28, and putting Donnell Washington at tight end with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. That kind of makes them almost unstoppable and makes his first year easy, because he'll never see a double team. He will never see a double team. Oddities is what I wanted to address. Kuntz, another tight end from Old Dominion.
Right.
Big 6'6", can run with the wind. A lot of people don't know how athletic. So I would be looking, especially as Washington, I'm sure he's on the radar because he's in your backyard. Sure. And you can get that guy in the 4th, 5th round, maybe the 3rd.
Right. And that's what I was going to ask you. The last thing, one guy, Tyreek Stevenson, you got any thoughts on him from Miami?
I know who you're talking about. He sticks. The one thing I say about him, he plays with an even keel. The game don't ever look like it's too big. I need consistency. Like, I need him to be the same person he is all the time. Okay. He I can tell when the game is on his mind. Like, he shows up for big games. That's his thing. But what happens when you play Wake Forest? Where's the singular focus? And that's what they're looking at. Like they're trying to ask the questions why these players don't do this all the time. And that has a lot to do with them. And there's a lot of guys, like I say, that people have already basically gave him a gold jacket, like Jalen Carter. I actually think the D tackle, Clancy from Pittsburgh, I got a feeling he might be better. The more I watch him, it feels like I'm watching Aaron Donald all over again. Like, he's dead type of athlete. And I think he ran a 4.4 at the D tackle. It's some guys in this draft. It's a couple of guys that's different.
So the last thing I want to ask you, if there's no corner there at 16, if they don't, because you could always trade back, but let's say they stay there, it's not a corner. What position or what guy would you like to see get drafted here?
If it has to be a corner, because I would really,
or any spot.
I would really like to have a tackle. Like, I like to be honest. I would really like to steal maybe Thanos from Ohio State, offensive lineman. Maybe Donnell Wright. I would love to have him from Tennessee. I would love Smits from the center from from Minnesota. Osiris from Florida, the guard. Yeah. It's just you build your team from the inside out. And as a corner, I'd say that when my defensive lines were dominant, I was dominant. You want to change games, you change them like we did when we won Super Bowl, with the Hogs on one side and Dexter Manley and the rest of the dudes on the other. Yeah. We got that on the defensive line. We have to match the offensive line with the defensive line, and all of the skill positions will look better. Not some, all. So I'm all about get the meat, get the big dudes. I can steal these other dudes in a second, because we're not going after no receiver. That's what I'm hoping. Somebody wants to come up to get Jackson Enigma, and they want to trade with us at 16 to do it. Right. No, I think you're right. And I think I'm with you on all that. Fred, you're the best. I appreciate it, man. Anytime, brother. Don't wait so long, Keim. We got to hit that up. I don't want to abuse you. I know how it's sometimes hard to get you to open up, so I know you may need some time in between. You know it. I appreciate it, man. Anytime, brother. That's it for this episode. Thanks to Fred for joining me, and thank you, as always, for tuning in.
I'll be back Thursday night / Friday morning with another episode, this time joined by Sam Fortier from the Washington Post, Pete Haley from NBC Sports Washington, and Matthew Paris from the Washington Times, getting the gang back together. Talk to you next time.